Hello, good afternoon, Professor and my classmates. So we're group three and we'll be going through the final presentation. So this is the agenda of our project, Introduction, Voice Installation, Web Server Software Installation, Host-Based Security, and CMS. I'm Nivan and I'll be going through the OS installation. So once we have installed the Ubuntu and made the necessary upgrades, these are the steps that we are taking to harden the system. So first of all, we'll be going through upgrading the system regularly. For that, the command uses sudo apt upgrade. As you can see, the upgrade is done and the lib apache mod 2 security is installed for the latest version. The next command that we'll be using will be the enabling automatic security updates. And as you can see, we'll be using the sudo dp kg reconfigure that I have already pre-typed again, and I'll be using it. So if I go to sudo dp kg reconfigure, so as you can see, this tells me that we are configuring unattending upgrades, which will automatically attend the upgrades in our permission. I'll enable it to yes, and now any update that is being left out will be upgraded. So the next step in this process is to enable the uh, change the default port. So for the default port, we'll be going through the EDC SSHD config. Usually the SSH port is at double 222, but we'll be changing it to triple two, that is 2222. And as you can see, the port is changed to 2222. This helps us in making sure that the attackers doesn't know which port to attack. So the next step that we are going through would be the enabling firewall. So we'll be doing a sudo ufw status verbose that will tell us that will tell us what is allowed and what is not. As you can say, stay status active, default deny incoming, and allow outgoing, and disable routed. And these are the ports that we have enabled for the access to the outside world. And now we'll be going through the final three, that is the installing aid for file integrity, Linux for security auditing, and disabling the IPv6. So let me go through the disabling the IPv6. If we do IPA, I can only see IPv4 IPs and not the IPv6. This means the IPv6 is disabled and there is no back channel addition to the IP pool. So the next one is installing the aid or the Linux. So let me go through the Linux because it is easier to explain. So for the Linux, we'll be running the Linux audit command that helps us in running the Linux. So the command is Linux audit system. As you can see, it starts running the audit. And as you can see, it has detected the OS, it is checking the profile and everything else. So since this takes a lot of time and we do not have the availability, so we'll be going through the final command, that is the aid file system. So I'll be searching up the command for the aid file system. And this is the command for the aid file system because it checks the DB. As you can see, the 8 DB is created. The 8 DB checks for against the already existing attacks. And once it observes that there is a hardening problem or there is a leak in the system, it checks against the 8 DB. So that is all from my side. Now I'll be asking my friend Raj to go over the server hardening process.
Hi, Professor. Now, today we will be going to explain about how exactly we are proceeding with the server hardening technique of this particular project. So, our server has been hosted as like the Apache in form of Apache, and it is like not put on the cloud platform or any kind of overloaded platform as of now. So, this is just for the reference purpose, like the server hardening overview. As you can check, the architecture has already been provided up here, how we are going to go ahead with the server hardening part. So we are we are going ahead with the process of hardening by protecting it from three ways. One is the mod evasive, which is the command for using the basic details or like the DDoS or DOS kind of attacks from outside overhead internet. Secondly, we will be checking with the mod security, which is the inbuilt facility of our Apache server, and we are enabling it from inside, like the web app firewall, WAF. And like last but not the least, we will be going ahead with the CrowdSec prevention method, which does both part like of the prevention as well as the detection. So it does like the IDS and IPS both. So now let's go ahead and check how exactly they are being performed. So now I am going ahead with the first command, which is the running the enablement of the evasive .conf file. So now, as you can see, we are checking here for the our email notification, which has been turned on, which is the domain is test@group3.com. So now we are going to move ahead from this one. Our next protection method is enabling the for checking for the A2 EN2 mod security platform by running from the root user, which is the sudo. Now we'll see what exactly does. So there we can see the unique ID and the security two methods are already been enabled, which is a good sign. So now we are again going ahead from this one and checking our third process, which is checking of the Apache 2's security.conf. Now over here we are looking for these two header files, which shows us that the cross-site scripting or any kind of SQLi injections can be prevented or not. We can see that they are both been put up as no sniff, like they will be checked up on any kind of HTTP get or post methods which are coming inside the server, and it if it sees that it is a like a flagged poll, so then it will be blocking it from the inside attack. So that is why it is selected to mode equals to block. Now let's move ahead from this one. Now we will be checking the log watch, which is the CrowdSec before the CrowdSec part. So now we will be checking what exactly this does. So now up here, you won't be seeing any HTTP any kind of flag notification, because as I have already mentioned previously that it is not uploaded to any kind of hosted anywhere in the network interface. So we are just showing it for the purpose. If it would have been, then any kind of like detected flagged item would have been shown up here. Now we are moving up from here. Now we will be running our like the last command, which is the crowdsec. We will be checking for here the crowdsec is already been enabled and preset to enabled when starting the server. Now we will be checking out our bouncer list up here also. This is the bouncer list. What are bouncers? Let's go ahead with it. So bouncers are the agents which are provided inside CrowdSec. So what they do is they first monitor for any kind of this kind of detected attacks from outside internet, and they block them there right there and then. So what it does, it takes care of both the IDS as well as the IPS, like the intrusion detection as well as the intrusion prevention. So that's all about it. So those five, like the three methods of server hardenings are already been demonstrated. That's all about it. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Imanshu. I'm going to take you through some of the host-based software security installation. We'll look at all these five. I'm going to run some of the commands and I'll explain at the same time. So we'll look at the first command. We'll look at the systemctl status failed to run. What this shows us, it shows us whether it's active and running when it was enabled, and also the number of tasks and whether the server is ready or not. Next, we'll look at the client status for this. As you can see, this shows the number of jails and the jail list. So the jail list is the number of, it queries the failband 2 server to show an overview of its current protection status. Next, we'll look at AppArmor. This is a Linux security module that controls what programs can do. So we'll first look at the status. AppArmor status. It shows AppArmor module is loaded and the file system is not mounted because we're going to give hand over this server to the person who uses it and is going to put the mount on the file system, because we should not have access to his files and system. Next, we're going to look at security enhanced Linux, and this is the first command. So this activates the security enhanced Linux. It shows whether it's enabled or disabled. It shows the current mode and the policy name as well. Next, we're going to look at the config. This shows this from the config file. It shows whether Linux is enforcing permissive or disabled. As you can see, it shows cell Linux is enforcing. We have to change the config file using this command. Next, we'll look at ClamScan. That's an open source antivirus called ClamAV. And first, we'll run this command. And here you can see it's downloading it on the web server. It's 8.72 MBs. It's going to take a long time, but we'll just try and see the status from here. What that does is that what that command does is that it only displays infected results, and the /r means it's recursively scanning every file and folder inside the /var/www, which is the target directory. Next, we'll look at RK-Hunter. RK-Hunter is a security tool that scans your system for rootkits and stuff like and local exploits, suspicious files and commands. So when you run this command, it shows the version, and it performs a series of steps that checks system commands for tampering. As you can see, it says everything is okay and nothing is to be found. There's no warning or anything. It also compares files against hashes to know whole values. As you can see, it's going through its own database and checking for all of these tests. That is all for the web server based security. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Omotola and I'll be going over our WordPress installation on Ubuntu and how we used it to secure it against brute force attacks and other attacks. So the first command that I'll be going over is the sudo. Um, when we go over the config file for the WordPress, over here you can see that. Hold on, just give me one. Over here you can see that there's no file found over here because we have moved it to the parent directory. So if you go over here and remove you can see that the file is over here. So we did this so the administrators cannot find the config file in the usual location. Next, I'll be going over how we edited the config file. Um, let's see. Over here you can see that we put disallow file edit true and force SSL admin true as well. So the disallow file edit will prevent the file from being edited by non-admin users, and the force SSL forces the admin user to always be at HTTPS. Next, I'll be going over how we change the permission for the directory and for the files. So for this we used the chmod 755 and chmod 644 for the file type and for the directory. Next, I'll be going over the Apache toolconf. So over here, if you go to the index, you can see that it's negative. This ensures the users from finding the directory. Next, I'll be going over the HT access. Over here, you can see that it requires all the access, and we kept the IP address location as a placeholder so the actual user can actually connect the IP address. Um, and then we go over the server configuration file. Okay, so over here you can see that we put the blind address as the local host, so it restricts user from the internet. And next I'll be calling Himanshu to come and explain the next part. Thank you.
Hello, Professor. As my friends have already gone through the uh, various methods we can use to harden the system. Now we'll be focusing on the incident response and the incident response activities. So we have defined the step of objects that we will follow for the uh, well-defined incident response. That is rapid detection. Then we'll be doing a containment, efficient eradication. We'll be doing a recovery and learning reviews. So for the identification, we'll be using tools and methods to detect the unusual activities. We'll determine if an event is actually a security event or it's a false flag. So we are using these are the following tools which has been already demonstrated by my friends. That is Logwatch, CrowdSec, and WordPress CLI. We'll also be demonstrating them in class alongside so that the classmates and the professor has a better idea. The other is checklist. We'll be creating a checklist on the steps to isolate what systems have been affected and how much is the spread. So the short term is to stop the ongoing damage, and the long term is to check the containment for cleanup and make sure that this never happens again. So we'll be using suspicious IPs blocking using UVF. We'll be temporarily disabling vulnerable plugins for the WordPress, and we'll be restricting SSS access to specific IPs. All of these have already been demonstrated by my teammates. The other thing is we'll be doing the eradication. We'll be making sure that no malicious contain remains. We'll be using removing malware, infected files, patching outdated WordPress code and plugins, and closing unused posts. These things we'll be demonstrating in class. After that, we'll be going through recovery, that is to safely restore operations. We'll be verifying file integrity using AID. We'll be using clean backups and continuous monitoring using Linux reports. For the post-incident activities, these are the checklist, and the examples that we will be using is updating our hardening checklist, implementing stronger access, and making a document to make sure that we learn. And the final step is questions. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to ask them.